Hello and welcome everyone to the February Policy Insights. I'm glad to have here Mark Nalder, Head of Payment Services Management at Nationwide Building Society, and also project mentor of our project Open Banking. Mark, thank you for being here. And I would like to have your comments on the status of play of Open Banking in the United Kingdom. Can you share your views with us, please?
Yeah, morning, Riccardo, and thanks for the invite today. I think it's a really interesting time for open banking. We've just seen the SJVG report, or the sprints, and the report. The report's really comprehensive, and covers 3 real clear themes for JROC to get their teeth into. The importance of the promotion of OBIE payments and open data. The real importance of the future form of ecosystem and the future entity. And I think now it's really up for JROC now to kind of take that report and agree what to do next. I think what I would say, looking at the report, and we've looked at it, both with the association and with my own building society. I think although it's a really comprehensive report, it doesn't really give any definitive kind of steer to JROC in terms of next steps. I think that will be the challenge of JROC. But I think it's a really good report, and it really gives us a real clear view of what open banking should do next.
And views of the future entity, touch on this. What do you expect also?
Yeah, so I think what's clear for me is that that JROC needs to take this report and really look at we need to get the legal framework in place, and we need to get the future entity installed. Until then, managed development of OBIE is limited, and that will put a constraint on open banking. We've done a lot of work over the last 3-4 years and getting to where it needs to get to. It'd be a real shame now if these things get kind of delayed and it kind of stops, because what open banking needs now is kind of continuity, and kind of the roadmap for the next 18 months, 2 years.
Absolutely. And also, well, you touched briefly the OBIE, so my question next is about Marion King, who's succeeding Charlotte Crosswell as new trustee. What do you expect from Marion, who's also like our now sadly chairwoman of the Payments Association at in her new leadership role at the OBIE? What can we expect from Marion?
Well, firstly, I guess I'd like to pass on my personal gratitude to Marion for bringing me onto the advisory board. Start of last year now. She's been a massive. She's one of the main reasons I joined the advisory board to work with Marion, and she's led the board with just such a drive and determination, and a real togetherness in the group. So she'd be a sad loss to the association, but I think she's a massive coup for the OBIE. I think all the things I talked about in terms of the need to really get the legal framework in place, get the entity up and running. Marion's absolutely that person to do that. I think Marion, she's got real strong end user experience, with a vast payments knowledge from her career, and actually I think she's excellently placed to really drive what's really important. I think from an open banking point of view, we really want to provide a real option for consumers in open banking. We'll make it work. It's got to work for consumers, and not just it has to work for everybody. And I think there's lots of common interest with payments, APP scams and fraud. It cuts across both payments and open banking. So I think Marion will bring that to the table. I think she's got a massive, vast experience on delivery across multiple kind of, of a career, both at a tier 1 bank, a major service provider, and also kind of, with the trade agent in the last couple of years. So I think she brings, a real, a vast knowledge of across multiple disciplines to be a best place to take the OB forward.
Fantastic. Well, I think that delivery is what we really need in open banking now, and take this forward. So otherwise we chat a lot, but open banking needs, as you said, to be done. So it's great to know that we are good, and we're all working to this to come forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said Marion's got such a good delivery record across the multiple disciplines in the payments, payments world. So I think should be, well placed to land OBIE where it needs to be.
What have been the challenges, in your opinion, that have up to now stopped and prevented open banking from being what we want it to be? What do we have to win?
Well, I think, the challenge around the funding, the CMA9, that's absolutely been a challenge. I think the take-up's been a challenge. You can invest a lot of money, and if you don't get the payback in terms of consumer uptake and stuff, I think that people will lose interest and find other things to spend their money on. So I really think, for me, open banking needs some real good use cases. It's excellent. VRM is a great example. Payment volumes increasing month on month, but I think it needs those use cases that really drive consumers to want to use open banking. But things like AP scams, fraud, liability, all those things need to be resolved. Unfortunately, until you get those things resolved, consumers will be more comfortable using other forms of payment because they've got better consumer protection elsewhere. And that's not just a payment issue for open banking; it's an issue across payments as well. So we need to really address that. But the infrastructure's there. We've done all the hard work. It's now about finding those use cases and the consumers need and want. And then I think you'll see open banking take off.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing your views with us, and also for being the project mentor of our working group on open banking. And I'm sure that in a year time, we will be in a better position around this.
We absolutely will be.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mark, once again.
Thank you, Riccardo.